Good evening, my name is Jesus Rodriguez, and I'm going to be giving a class on the squat. And a couple of, the squat, whether you love it or you hate it, I would consider myself the latter. I do love the squat. I think it's an important exercise. It's a misunderstood exercise. A lot of people think it's kind of just going down, going down, coming back up, and it's done. And it's a little more nuanced than that. It requires, understanding your foot placement, your hip width and hip stance, core, breathing, your posture, and understanding the eccentric and concentric motions of the exercise. So I want to start off with a study conducted in 2018 by BMC Sports Science and Medicine Rehabilitation, and they recommended the best foot stance for a squat is between 21 degrees and 42 degrees. So that I would like to consider that like maybe a slice of pizza and then 2 slices of pizza when you're under the bar, so it would look like something like this and something like this. And and another thing to understand with that as well is going to be your hip width and stance as well. And 2 things I want to touch on with that as well is kind of understanding your anatomy and your bone structure. So the femur is connected to the hip bone, and not everybody is built the same. So a lot of people have what is called a femoral anteverse, which is when your your femur is pushed in forward, and that causes you to have kind of like a pushed in knee, kind of like this, or your foot is kind of also more internal, facing internally towards your body. And the other one, or they would be considered, a lot of times they're considered as pigeon foot, and the other side of it is the femoral retroverse, which is going to be the opposite basically. So instead of your femur being pushed in, it's going to be pushed out, and you're going to have more of a flat femur hinge kind of in your hip bone. And that's kind of what I am. With that, you have more of your knees are pointed outwards, your toes and your feet when you are relaxed are pointing outwards as well. And depending on which one you are is going to affect your hip stance. So one way to find out, before that, people who have femoral anteverse are kind of told to opt in for a more narrow stance, because they have that bone structure that allows them to do so, and it's a lot more comfortable for them. And for femoral retroverse, it's the opposite. So people with femoral retroverse are going to have, like myself, they're going to have a limitation when they're going for a squat. So I have to opt in for a wider stance, and you go down and you come back down, so you have a lot more depth to it, and that's something you really want to focus on as well. And finding out what your specific bone structure is, you really want to, there's 2 ways you can do so, and one of them is looking at your feet. So when you're looking at your feet, in a relaxed state, your feet are either going to be pointed, either inwards, or they're going to be pointed outwards. And with a femoral retroverse, they're mostly going to be pointed outwards. And so that's one clue to find out which one you are. And the second one is going to be kind of grabbing like a bench or something else, like a chair. And when you're sitting down, you want to sit down straight, and you want to focus on excessive internal and external rotation of your leg. So keyword is excessive. For me, right, since I'm femoral retroverse, I'm gonna have an excessive leg drive or leg torque with the internal rotation of my leg. And for someone who is a femoral anteverse, they're going to be having more of excessive, external rotation in their leg. So that's another way you can find out which stance you're gonna opt for. So that's all I have for hip placement. Now I want to kind of go into posture, breathing, and your core. So with your core, what you really want to do when you're going under a squat is when you have the bar on your back, you really want to take a deep breath and push in your abdomen. And if you notice, if you touch it, if you're doing it right, it's going to be hard. And so when you're going down for a squat, it really helps you to keep tight because it puts pressure on your lower back, kind of pushing like a balloon, and it pushes it out, and it puts less strain on your lower back. And when you're going on a squat, you want to generally have a good posture as well, or not generally, you want to have a good posture. And by doing that, you kind of want to have more of a straight line, relative straight line from your neck to your lower back. And that prevents you from rolling your shoulders forward, prevents you from rolling your shoulders forward and putting more pressure on your lower back, which can be very detrimental. Another thing I want to touch on as well is going to be the eccentric and concentric motions as well. So the eccentric, meaning the part of the exercise where you are lengthening your muscles to complete that exercise. So you're lengthening your muscles. I'm lengthening my quads, my glutes, and my calves. And the concentric motion is the motion where you're using the strength of your muscles to go back to its original position. And so you want to control, when you're doing a squat, you want to control both of those, because it not only helps with muscle stimulation, but it also helps with muscle stimulation, and it improves your endurance and your muscle strength as well. A lot of people get very frustrated when they're exercising because they don't see immediate results, so they do what's called ego lifting, and they put an excessive amount of weight, which compromises form and also increases your chances of injuring yourself. So we want to avoid that. Exercising it's a journey, not the destination. So be kind to yourself. Remember why you're here. You're here for your health, nothing else. You're here to improve yourself and your day-to-day life and your quality of life as well. And just keep working out. Thank you very much.